Doing this because I'm having some sort of an episode, some sort of weird episode thing. This is the only one I have up here right now, so I'm going to take my blood pressure with the wrist one, which I don't even know their names. One of the ladies at the cardiac rehab said that the wrist ones aren't nearly as accurate as the upper arm cuff. So to use that one, I have one. It's downstairs. But just taking it. I probably shouldn't talk while I'm doing my blood pressure. Okay, it's done. All right, my blood pressure is actually good. 118/88, which I guess is pretty good. It's not bad for me in the last few weeks. All right, but okay, I just moved my chair. That's all I did. I was moving my chair closer to the table. And then all of a sudden, my heart was beating really heavy, and I started having to take deep breaths, and I don't know what that's all about. So it's one thing after another. And and earlier, like, I'm not at work today because yesterday I was feeling really bad, and today I'm still not feeling great. I didn't sleep very well last night, but it was time for me to just take a rest, I think, and so that's what I'm doing. And I still have a lot of nausea and a lot of chest pressure today. There never seems to be an explanation for it. So, I'm just muddling through the day. But yeah, that was weird. And I've been trying to launch this episode of the podcast for a while now. It's like, I don't know, fourth or fifth attempt. So that's what we're having done right now. So I don't know. Let's launch it now.
We are not doctors. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Consult your physician before starting any workout routine. This is the Martial Heart Podcast.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to episode 46, as though you haven't already seen me from earlier. Yeah, doing a little podcast today. This is probably just going to be a YouTube one because I don't know. I don't know if I'll stop at 15 minutes, but continuing to have an issue, and I don't know what it is. My blood pressure seems to be fairly okay, so it's not that. But you'll notice a new look right here. This microphone thing. Back when we did the little survey that very few people participated in, pretty much the majority said that the SM58. Hold on. The SM58 sounded best with my voice as opposed to the Rode Pod mic. There were 3 or 4 people that said, hey, the Rode Pod mic sounds cool. Go with that. But most of the people thought that for some reason the SM58 could just be the rumble in my voice or whatever. This microphone sounded better. And oddly enough, they said that it sounded better without the pop filter on it. So I'm putting the pop filter back on it and putting it down over here. So the SM58, actually, I'm going to keep it out here. This one is the SM57, which is the predecessor to the SM58. Like I've said before, the SM58 is considered like an industry standard for audio, vocal microphones. They have a decent built-in pop filter, noise rejection, and things like that. You're still going to get some handling noise if you're not, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not gentle with it. But a very, very, very popular microphone. and people love them, and I do too. It's a great microphone. It has a really good sound to it. This is my cat. My cat is. What are you doing, cat? Anyway, if you take the bulb, the pop filter, the screen off of an SM58, you get this. And this is essentially an SM57, except in the SM57, on this one, the SM58, this is just like a foam pad that's on here. On the SM57, it's a wire mesh screen, and it's a little bit concave. But essentially that's it. That's what this microphone is based on, is the SM57. They did make some changes. My understanding is there's a little shock absorption thing they did internally on here. And so anyway, it has this foam here, which sort of acts like an additional pop filter, or windscreen. And then you put this one on. The globe on this has the foam on the inside of it. So it's got a built-in pop filter windscreen. But the SM57, which is what it looks like, sort of like this inside here, is also a very popular microphone. They use it to record instruments. They use it to record audio, just regular vocals. And it's the official microphone of the President of the United States. So when the President is giving an address, I'm not sure if it's everywhere or if it's just the podium at the press conferences. It might be in the Oval Office as well. I'm not sure. But this is the microphone they use, the SM57. And the SM57 is just as versatile as the SM58, maybe even more so, because the way it's built, it can go right up against an instrument, or like a speaker, or right inside a drum, and it's kind of built to do those sorts of things. And so anyhow, they make this kind of a pop filter for it, and this pop filter, though, it moves you farther away from the microphone cartridge on the inside. Here, you're getting like a half an inch from the top of the cartridge to the top of this bulb. So you're only like a half an inch away from the cartridge itself on the inside, even though you have these foam, this foam protection in there. But on this one, when you put this on, it moves you a little bit farther away from the end of the capsule. And so it seems to be much better at preventing plosives. So when I'm saying Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, did I even say that right? I don't know. But it's not picking up the plosives as much as even this one did. And these are pretty good with plosives. So anyway, I'm experimenting with that. I have some EQ settings. But another thing that was brought to my attention was the inconsistency in the volume level, because I tend to decide that I'm going to speak low, and then I raise my voice and I start speaking a little bit louder, because I'm basically treating this camera as though it's a person and I'm just having a conversation with them in my normal voice, which can create problems. So guess what? I learned about compression. So running a compressor on the audio now. And this is a good test for you. If I get really close and I speak quietly into the microphone, or if I decide to raise my voice like I'm agitated, the differences in the decibel level that you're hearing is going to only be 2 or 3. So you shouldn't have to turn the volume up and down to hear those separate parts, because I'm running this compression program on the microphone. So, and I didn't follow the instructions. I experimented with it based on the recommendations of people who do voiceover work and podcasting and things like that, and it wasn't good enough. So obviously, my volume goes up and down continuously and to a great degree, because I'm not a trained voice actor, so I'm not keeping my voice even. So I had to put the compression at a much higher ratio, and closer to a ratio of apparently what they put on DJs on the radio, so that the sound is really consistent and you don't have to screw around with your volume. Apparently, radio DJs tend to do like a 10-to-1 compression ratio in their studios. I'm currently at an 8, and I from the testing that I did with the different volume levels and yelling into the microphone and things, it seems like that seemed to be pretty good compression. So I might play around with it, but that's just for everybody else to make it easier for you to listen to it, so that the sound is a little more consistent. So guess who's learning all about audio stuff? Me. Yep, that would be me. I learned about compression. I learned about proper EQ. Learned a little bit about gain, staging, and all these weird terms that people need to know if they're going to start doing audio recording. Or you don't have to, and you can just stick a microphone in your face and start talking, and somebody will listen. I don't know. But I have this weird thing where I want it to be a very high quality audio. Even if what I'm saying isn't of the highest quality, I want the audio quality to be good. And so I'm working on that. And hopefully those tweaks and changes work out for everybody. And we'll see. This new microphone, so far, it sounds great in my ears. But again, I'm mostly deaf. Actually, that's kind of an exaggeration. I'm not mostly deaf, maybe a third deaf. So, not too bad for somebody who's deaf. Anyway, yeah, still just feel like dog shit. But, and it's coming and going. But, yeah, I don't know. I have to wait for more follow-ups and stuff, and probably more med changes. But I know yesterday my blood pressure was way up again, and that's probably what triggered this really bad episode of feeling bad. And the fear for me is that at different times, my head just kind of felt like it was swimming, and I did not feel steady or stable. You know what I mean? I don't mean psychologically stable. I mean like physically stable with my balance and judgment, really, because it seemed like my brain would just wander off. And especially with that episode the other day where it just seemed to like shut off while I was in the middle of recording a podcast. You don't want that happening when you're out on the highway. And so, yeah, yesterday it got so bad that I was just like, I'm going home. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to do this job without me. And of course, they're completely capable of doing that because I'm not, saving the day or anything. But yeah, and this last night, I didn't sleep very well. So, I've been up since about 3 o'clock again, 3 a.m. And tonight I'm going to try to stay up a lot later so I can sleep in longer. But I don't know. I don't feel great. I keep getting this really bad nausea, really bad chest pressure. And that weird thing that happened when I was starting the podcast, I don't even know what that was. All I did was move my chair and dum, 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 really heavy heartbeats. And I don't know, it kind of worried me a little bit. And I don't know, but I'm starting to believe that maybe we all just worry too much about things. Like maybe those are normal things that happened before. We just didn't pay any attention to them. Like, maybe that specific motion that I did would make my heart beat really heavy for a minute or so. And just normally in my normal life before having a heart attack. But when it's like that, you don't pay attention to it. So at least I didn't. So I don't know. It may be completely normal for me for that to happen. But now that I've had a heart attack, everything worries me. Like I'm like, oh boy, what is that? What's happening right now? And it's hard to explain because I don't know. It's not that I'm afraid that I'm having another heart attack. It's there's a lot of fears, but it's mostly, what about everybody else? And I don't want to be responsible for making something bad happen. So even though I'm in this, I want to push, I want to go forward, I want to advance through cardiac rehab. I want to do these. I want to get back to my normal life. Even though I have those urges and those desires, I also don't want to cause in any other sort of you know, heart-related incidents, or, you know, just give myself another heart attack and die on everybody because I was doing something stupid, or I wasn't following the rules, or because I wasn't, you know, taking my time. So sometimes when weird things start happening, I get worried, and I'm like, what did I do? And everybody's going to be mad at me if I wind up back in the hospital again. Everybody's going to be really pissed, and especially me, because I'm pretty sure there's nothing else they can do for me. So they would just lay me in a bed somewhere and leave me there for a couple of days and monitor me to make sure I'm not dying, and then just send me home. I think that's probably what they would do. Or not even just give me a bed. They'd just be like, go home. If you're going to die, go home. Go home and die. We need the bed for sick people. Anyway, you know, my morbid sense of humor, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Me and most of my friends are that way. So we joke about death and dying all the time. And it's fine. It's how some people cope. But yeah, I don't know. I may just be worried all the time that what I'm doing or what just happened, you know, like this thing that I just felt. And I'm just saying in general, like, oh, this thing that I just felt, is that something? Is that a big deal? Is that a sign? Or is that the start of, you know, things like that? But I hope some of it goes away. The chest pressure thing, really annoying, because it never lets you forget that you have an issue. And so in a lot of ways, it keeps, even if it's an anxiety response, like people are starting to lean to, it doesn't help, because my anxiety response is also causing me anxiety, because I'm like, is this something wrong with my heart right now? Is my heart struggling? Is that why I'm having the chest pressure? So even though the doctor says it's not heart related, so we need to find out what's going on, it's causing me. So if it's an anxiety attack, it's exacerbating the problem, because I have an anxiety attack in response to the general condition of things. And the anxiety attack is causing me to have more anxiety, because it makes me think something more serious is going on. And it sucks. It really sucks. And I'm trying to coping with it. I'm coping with it by buying audio equipment. I don't know what. I'm going to resell some of this stuff. So it's just part of my eBay quest. I'll be reselling some things. Not this, because this is awesome. And so is this. But yeah, anyway, so if it's an anxiety response, then it's not helping anything, because it's causing even more anxiety. And but I, I want to lean into it having something to do with blood pressure as well, because my blood pressure has just been, you know, like going up and down, and not staying level and consistent at all for weeks now. And I think that's probably a good portion of it, because when I was on the other blood pressure medicine, the metoprolol, that controls your blood pressure and regulates your heart rate, I didn't feel like this. You know, I had a heart arrhythmia more often because it may have been slowing my heart rate too much, and it would cause the arrhythmia to kick in. But you know, they could have adjusted the dosage or something. I don't know, but I didn't feel like this when I was taking that one. And since they took me off of it, it got worse. And since they put me on this other heart medicine, this other blood pressure medicine, rather, yeah, it's not improving. It seems to be getting worse. So I don't know. I may just start telling them I'll live with the arrhythmia. I just want to go back on the other blood pressure medicine. And they're going to say no, at least for now, until the heart monitor thing. I still have the heart monitor on. It's right there. I still have a few more days left of that. And then I can take it off and mail it back to them. And then they can decide that, you know, oh, you're fine. You'll be fine. Which isn't true. So what else? There was something else I was going to was gonna tell you guys something else. There's something else on my mind, and now I can't remember what it was. Nope, it's gone. It's gone. Poof. But yeah, you don't want to feel like I'm feeling right now. And I'm trying to come up with some ideas for topics that we can discuss, that I can kind of go into what my experience was with that specific thing. And I was trying to come up with warning signs. Like, I'm trying to think through the past, maybe the last 4 or 5 years, things that have gone on with me health wise that may have been warning signs that I was developing a heart issue that was going to lead to a heart attack. And I've been trying to think of that. And so far, I haven't really come up with many, other than the fact that I think I had a heart attack last year, a mild one, if you can say it's a mild heart attack. But the symptoms were identical to these in August. It was just not quite as severe. It was enough that it was bad that I didn't know what was happening, but it lessened and went away fast enough for me to write it off as being a really bad case of heartburn or something else. So other than that, the only thing I've come up with so far is my complexion and how I looked. And for about the last year or so, I've looked at myself in the mirror and gone, "Wow, you're looking really ragged, and you're looking old." And granted, I am getting older, and I'll be 57, in a couple of months, and so I'm not a young guy, but I kept looking at myself, thinking that I was aging pretty rapidly at the time, and it could have been that. And my wife said that I had no color. I was lacking color. I was kind of gray, and then once they did the stents and the angio, my color came back. And that may have been part of what was making me feel like I was aging really rapidly at the time. Because, hey, guess what? I didn't have blood going everywhere it was supposed to go, including to my heart. So, I was having massive problems with dry skin. I was having problems with just my general complexion, deeper wrinkles and lines, and everything was just like going downhill, and it felt to me like it was going downhill quick. So I'm starting to wonder if those weren't signs that something was wrong, and I just wrote it off to I'm just getting old. And another thing is that I haven't shaved in a couple of days because I'm currently trying to decide if there's going to be a beard this winter or not. And I haven't let the beard grow out for the last couple of winters. The winters haven't been that harsh the last couple of years anyway, so it hasn't been that big of a deal. It hasn't been like I'm going to have my beard this winter. But the last time I did have my beard fully grown, it was all gray, and it made me look ancient. I looked like an old wizard from a really long book about wizards. And everything was gray. And I mean, you can look at the hair on my head, and you may not know that I used to be a blonde, and then I was a dirty blonde, and I've always had light brown hair of some sort, and now there's none of it left. It's all just gray, and which I guess is fine. I still have a little bit of hair on the top, not a lot, but my forehead now comes to the top of my scalp. So I am getting older and all of that, and I don't know. Yeah, I've been told that the gray beard ages me, and that it's not flattering anymore. Back when it was brown and just had a couple of streaks of gray, it was, it was fine. But now that it's all gray, yeah, it doesn't do me any favors. So probably not going to grow it back again this year. But if it gets down to like 1-2 degrees, yeah, growing a beard back, because I got to be outside. I'm not an indoor working guy. Well, I mean, we're indoors a lot, but I got to do stuff outside. I got to move around. And So we'll see. At this point, I'm undecided. I don't think I'll probably shave today to get rid of it. But um, I'm just hanging in there right now. I'm just doing what I can. I'm going to record a lot probably in the next 2 or 3 days just because I'm not going to feel like doing much else. So I'm just going to do it and do a few episodes. Probably going to do another conspiracy episode. Don't listen to that if you are of the faint of heart variety. And I don't know, I might go back and do a video for my old channel. I've been meaning to do some things on there. I promised to do a video on helmets and how I modified old military helmets and turned them into modern high-speed, helmets. And some things about optics that I dealt with over the last few years. And I don't know, maybe I'll do that too. But it's been a while since I posted anything there. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. There's nothing else going on right now other than just trying to get through it. And I'm getting through it. I am. Going to be okay. That's what everybody says. So they're right. It's all going to be fine. And not every time something weird happens does that mean that I'm having a heart attack. I don't actually think that, but it's one of those things that once you've had one, you have to pay attention to everything that's happened after that. And you're like, is it coming again? What's happening? But yeah, let me know what you think of the new compression on the audio and the new microphone, the new equalizer settings. I think it's pretty good. There might still be a little too much bass. It's leaving a little too much bass, maybe, but that's up for you to get, to you guys to decide what you think. Because, like I said, most of the time I can't hear it, and I get tired of watching like videos of people doing comparisons of audio stuff, audio gear, audio settings, equalizations, and then they're like, you can hear the obvious difference between audio A and audio B. And I'm like, no, I can't. So I can't hear that at all. And but it's because I have so many tones missing in my hearing that those are probably the tones that they're accentuating or attenuating in their little equalization experiments. And so I just can't even tell. But I can't tell when it's too much bass. But it's mostly mid-range stuff, like human voice level things. But like, I don't know. When I listen to this, and it could just be my headphones, it seems like it might still have a little too much bass in it. So I'll experiment with that a little bit. So stick around. We'll see you on the next episode, and that I'll probably record later on today. And I don't know, maybe there'll be a subject that I can discuss about, precursors or, anything that might have given it away, or signs and symptoms that may have, been trying to tell me something and we just ignored it. So we'll see how that goes. Till then, hey, oh wait, I keep forgetting to hit this outro thing. It's probably not even that important, but I made it, so it's fine. Another thing I need to do is I need somebody to make a new introduction video. The audio I need to keep. The audio for the introduction I need. But I'm going to have to put different video on there. It's all generic and boring. And I don't know. It might be time to get on Fiverr again. Have some Indian kid do it for me.